Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. Today is Saturday and I'm going to be reading the news that Harry and Meghan and the Palace have both confirmed what was in an earlier video which the media has been talking about for a few days, and that is further details regarding the spring transition and also obviously the use of royal in Sussex Royal. So we finally have some confirmation, some actual physical confirmation on the earlier reports. I am going to be reading the Buckingham Palace statement. I'm also going to be reading and dissecting and going through the full Sussex Royal post that was made to their website, which is still called Sussex Royal at the moment. So we can still refer to it as Sussex Royal for now. But as this is a live chat, I am going to go and find the live stream, see who is about, say some hellos, and then we will get into dissecting all the information and working through some of the issues. I know some of you have been commenting, why am I posting Harry and Meghan stories on this channel when I have a Steps of Sussex channel for Harry and Meghan? This is big news. This is obviously a big main story. So we still have room for Harry and Meghan when it comes to big stories. But obviously I don't want to clutter up this channel with stories about one set of royals in particular. And to save this channel from being too heavy in either direction with any royal, I created Steps of Sussex. So if you've not joined, go and join that one, because all of the sort of more smaller stories to do with Harry and Meghan and their new transition will be on that channel. So do go and subscribe to that channel, Steps of Sussex. I will be updating to that, and I also will be covering this story again on that channel when I do an update. So yes, I am still posting on that channel, but this is a main story that I think still needs dealing with on the main channel, because Harry and Meghan are still royals, they are still HRHs, they are still the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So there we go. Right, I am now going to go to the chat room and see who's there. Anybody appearing in green is a channel member, so hello to you all. We now have over 70 channel members, so hello and welcome, and thank you to all of the channel members. I can see Lauren, Beverly, Elaine, Ran Away From Home, Christine, hello to Elizabeth Regina, the moderator, Bev M. I can see lots and lots and lots of people. Betsy and JC, I can see coming in. Right, let's go first of all to the Sussex Royal website, which is where actually I'm going to share the link. I'll share the link as well. You can find it if you go to their current Instagram story, and if you click on that, if you swipe up or click on the, I think it's show more if you're on desktop, you can find it. But I will pop the link into the description if you're watching on catch up, so you can follow along with what I am reading. So let's just go through it and dissect it as we go. So this is from sussexroyal.com. It's still called Sussex Royal at the moment, and it's regarding the spring 2020 transition. Now we know from an earlier announcement that the spring transition formally, the transition period ends on the 31st of March. So from the 1st of April, they will be into the 12-month review. That is mentioned in this statement. I have kind of pre-read it before. So they say, we are pleased to now be able to share with you an update on many of the details agreed at a meeting of the royal family in January 2020, which has been referred to in the media, of course, as the Sandringham Summit, which outlines the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's new roles taking effect spring 2020, which we now know to be the 31st of March. We had hoped to be allowed to share these details with you sooner, to mitigate any confusion and subsequent misreporting, but the facts below should help provide some clarification around this transition and the steps for the future. So I think Harry and Meghan are referring in that paragraph to everything that's been going on in the media. Obviously something leaked. The Daily Mail did get wind of some information prior to this announcement. I don't know where it came from. I have absolutely no idea where it came from. I'm sure there'll be lots of speculation, but they got hold of this information prior to the prior to this announcement. Had they not got hold of the information, I don't know whether we'd be seeing this now, but this is Harry and Meghan and the Palace's response to information that was leaked somehow ahead of time. So, as agreed and set out in January 2020, it is agreed that the commencement of the revised role of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will take effect spring 2020 and undergo a 12-month review. The royal family respect and understand the wish of the Duke and Duchess to live a more independent life as a family by removing the supposed public interest, and that's in quotes, justification for media intrusion into their lives. They remain a valued, and that's underlined, a valued part of Her Majesty's family. So that kind of bullet point section is referring, of course, to the intense media scrutiny which the Sussexes have gone through during their time as a couple, as a married couple, as a family within the royal family. They also stress that Her Majesty does value them as part of the royal family still, as part of her family. Next bullet point. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex will become privately funded members of the royal family with permission to earn their own income and the ability to pursue their own private charitable interests. So again, the use of the word permission, they have been given permission. It relates directly to this 12-month review period. So they have been given, obviously, permission to undergo this venture, a new chapter in their life, under review for 12 months with permission from the Queen, I think that is directly referring to. The preference of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was to continue to represent and support Her Majesty the Queen, albeit in a more limited capacity, while not drawing on the sovereign grant. So again, Harry and Meghan are repeating what they actually intended, what they would have liked, I suppose, which obviously was not agreeable to the senior royals and the Queen at the time. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about that in subsequent paragraphs. So hold on there. Now, this one here. While there is precedent, and that's underlined, for other titled members of the royal family to seek employment outside of the institution, for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, a 12-month review period has been put in place. So they are directly referring to that they have been subjected to a 12-month review. I don't think a 12-month review, looking at that, was ever part of their plan. I don't think the fact that they launched the website straight away, with their list of intentions, which was always kind of, a list of intentions rather than anything being agreed by the royal family. They refer to, my calendar just fell off if you heard a noise. I need to rehang the Queen. No, I'm not going to hang the Queen. I need to rehang the calendar. Let me just go back to the bit that I was reading. Right, so while there is precedent for other titled members of the royal family to seek employment, sounds to me like they are referring to, for example, Beatrice, Eugenie, Prince Michael of Kent. There are titled members of the royal family that do earn their own money while still being, titled. But Beatrice and Eugenie, we've been through this many times, are not working royals in any capacity. Occasionally they may represent the Queen for the odd couple of engagements a year, but they basically have kind of what you would consider to be regular jobs. I think, I forgot, Beatrice or Eugenie works in an art gallery. Prince Michael of Kent owns a consultancy business. These are very low-key, under-the-radar type jobs, normal jobs. I mean, Beatrice and Eugenie will get paid a normal wage, an average wage for the job they do. A consultancy business is just a consultancy business. It's not anything high-profile, showbiz, glitz, glamour. I think the fact that they have had to have this 12-month period all boils down to the sort of work that Harry and Meghan would have conveyed would have conveyed their intentions to the royal family, to the Queen, to Charles, to William, at the Sandringham meeting. Now, Harry and Meghan, I wouldn't like to speculate what they actually said to the senior royals with regards to their intentions, because we don't know what they actually intend to do work-wise. But from what I'm kind of reading between the lines, and this is what we've kind of got to do at the moment before we have any further details, before we actually see in time, because time will tell what endeavours the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be undertaking to earn their own money. At some point, they have got to earn their own money. How, we don't know. We think maybe with what's happened in recent weeks, they may be looking down the sort of financial institutions side of things, public speaking, that kind of thing. But we don't know until it actually happens. So one can only imagine that Harry would have presented maybe some examples of the sorts of work that they would want to do to earn money for themselves, which the Queen and senior royals might have looked at and thought, well, actually, that's not the same as what Beatrice and Eugenie, Prince Michael of Kent are doing. What probably Harry and Meghan are suggesting was probably something a little bit more high profile. We don't know what, but that's what I can only imagine would have been the reason to put a 12-month review period in. So, with the absence of any further information on that, I think we should move on. So, per the agreement, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex understand that they are required to step back from royal duties and not undertake representative duties on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen. Again, the wording, it kind of harks back to what they intended, what they would have liked to have happened. But obviously, that was not tenable. So it says they are required to. They're still saying that they want to do more, to represent the country, to represent the Queen, but that has been put onto them. So they are stressing in that sentence that they have been required to step back, to seek the life that they are going after now. The next bullet point, as agreed and set out in January, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will retain their HRH prefix, thereby formally remaining known as His Royal Highness the Duke of Sussex and Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. The Duke and Duchess will no longer actively use their HRH titles, as they will no longer be working members of the family as of spring 2020. So again, this is clarifying what their titles will be. I think that is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't think I need to explain that further. As the grandson of Her Majesty and second son of the Prince of Wales, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, remains sixth in line to the throne of the British monarchy, and the order of precedence is unchanged. So again, stressing Harry's place in the line of succession in the royal family has not changed. Next bullet point. It was agreed that the Duke and Duchess will no longer be able to formally carry out official duties for the Queen or represent the Commonwealth. But they will, however, be allowed to maintain their patronages, including those that are classified as royal patronages. So, they are not losing any patronages. Any that the Queen handed over, so for example, the Royal Theatre, all of their private patronages, any that were classed as royal, they are retaining all of those. That has been clarified in that statement. Next, it is agreed that the Duke and Duchess will continue to require effective security to protect them and their son. This is based on the Duke's public profile by virtue of being born into the royal family, his military service, the Duchess's own independent profile, and the shared threat and risk level documented specifically over the last few years. Now, in italics, no further details can be shared as this is classified information for safety reasons. So, hinting at there is a lot going on behind the scenes regarding security that we do not know, that we have not been privy to. They can't share that because it's classified information. So, again, we can only assume that there has been a lot going on behind the scenes with regard to security threats that they have faced. I think some we may have learned about kind of indirectly, but there must be many, 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 many more that they just cannot disclose. So I think kind of what that means is that they still require effective security. It doesn't quite go as far as saying who's going to pay for it. It says they require it. I think that's a key word. Require. They require it. Doesn't say necessarily who's going to pay for it. We still don't know whether it's going to be shared between the UK and Canada, maybe the USA chipping in. I don't know. These things that has not actually been announced. I think what they're hinting at with regarding security is that the palace, Harry and Meghan, the government don't want to say who is paying for what. That will probably come out at some point. But that statement, to me, doesn't actually say who is going to pay for it. It says they require it, but having access to it doesn't necessarily say who's going to pay for it. So I think that will be open to interpretation. Lots of people will interpret it as it means that it's paid. To me, it doesn't. But we will wait and see for that one. Let's park that one for a moment. Next, in relation to the military, the Duke of Sussex will retain the rank of Major and honorary ranks of Lieutenant Commander and Squadron Leader. During this 12-month period of review, the Duke's official military appointments will not be used, as they are in gift of the Sovereign. No new appointments will be made to fill these roles before the 12-month of review of the new arrangements is completed. So, they're keeping the door open. Harry hasn't lost them. It's almost like they've kind of been put on retention for 12 months. If things change within that 12-month period, Harry potentially could go back to them. Those roles are not going to be backfilled in that time. Post the 12 months, it doesn't go that far. It opens up the possibility that those roles could be backfilled by other members of the royal family in due course. Let's carry on slightly. While per the agreement, the Duke will not perform any official duties associated with these roles, given his dedication to the military community and 10 years of service, he will of course continue his unwavering support to the military community in a non-official capacity, so in his own right. As founder of the Invictus Games, the Duke will proudly continue supporting the military community around the world through the Invictus Games Foundation and the Endeavour Fund, which I think is all pretty self-explanatory. Based on the Duke and Duchess's desire to have a reduced role as members of the royal family, it was decided in January that their institutional office would have to be closed, the office at Buckingham Palace. Given the primary funding mechanism for his official office at Buckingham Palace, which is from, at the moment, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, which was due to be split between the Prince of Wales and the Queen, but I don't think it ever got that far. The Duke and Duchess shared this news with their team personally in January, once they knew of the decision, and have worked closely with their staff to ensure a smooth transition for each of them. Again, I think this is kind of directly responding to what has been in the press about their staff. It was widely reported that they had sacked their staff, which of course, it isn't true they sacked them. Basically, they've been made redundant because that office is no longer needed. Being made redundant, being sacked are two quite different things. Some of these people have been redeployed, efforts have been made to redeploy them back into some sort of role within the palace structure, but some of them undoubtedly will have had to have lost their job, to be quite honest. Over the last month and a half, the Duke and Duchess have remained actively involved in this process. So saying that they have been actively involved themselves personally, which has understandably been saddening for the Duke and Duchess and their loyal staff, given the closeness of their Royal Highnesses and their dedicated team. As the Duke and Duchess will no longer be considered full-time working members of the royal family, it was agreed that the use of the word royal would need to be reviewed as it pertains to organisations associated with them in this new regard. More details on this below. So let's carry on. Additional details. As shared in early January on this website, the Duke and Duchess do not plan to start a foundation, and that's in quotes, but rather intend to develop a new way to effect change and complement the efforts made by so many excellent foundations globally. So it's not going to be the same kind of foundation as, for example, the Royal Foundation of the Cambridges. This is going to be something a little bit different. The creation of this non-profit entity will be in addition to their cause-driven work that they remain deeply committed to. While the Duke and Duchess are focused on plans to establish a new non-profit organisation, given the specific UK government rules surrounding use of the word royal, which I spoke about in my earlier live chat, it has been therefore agreed that their non-profit organisation will not utilise the name Sussex Royal or any other iteration of royal. So their non-profit organisation will not utilise the name Sussex Royal. For the above reason, the trademark applications, which have widely been reported, that have been filed as protective measures, again they are stressing that they were filed as protective measures, which I did say when that news first broke, I did say, well actually it's probably more likely that they actually tried to protect from other people trying to do those things rather than that they intended to do, books or pencil cases or whatever was protected, in the same way that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge did as well. That reflected the same standard trademarking requests as done for the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, which I've just said. So all of those trademarks that Sussex has put in have now been removed. While there is not any jurisdiction by the monarchy or Cabinet Office, that's the UK government, over the use of the word royal overseas, there is in the UK, but not overseas, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex do not intend to use Sussex Royal or any iteration of the word royal in any territory, either within the UK or otherwise, when the transition occurs in spring of 2020. So this is quite important. This paragraph is what has been causing a bit of fuss with royal reporters all over the place. Basically, Harry and Meghan are saying there is no jurisdiction by the Queen or the UK government to stop us using the word royal overseas. There is in the UK, but overseas. But don't forget, Harry is British. So they're basically saying, well, actually, you can't tell us to stop using it overseas. You can in the UK, but not overseas. But we don't care because actually we don't intend to use it anyway. If it's going to cause that much fuss, if it's going to cause that level of scrutiny, we don't want it. We don't want to hear it. Let's just come up with something new that's not going to have that association, that's not going to bring around that criticism. Basically, we're going to be okay. And I think that's what I kind of spoke about in my previous video when I talked about what was being reported in the media about this. I said at the time, I think it might be better for them to just drop the use of royal so that they can't be criticised in that way. I do think, however, they will still attract a certain level of criticism depending upon what they do to earn money. You can just see the newspapers, what they'll be saying. You can just imagine. But I think removing the word royal will help somewhat. It says that actually, okay, we have to earn our own money, but we're not going to trade on off the back of our royal connections. And I think it sends out the right message to do that. So I actually think that they are better off being free of that criticism, and I hope that will benefit them in the future, in the long run, but also protects the institution of monarchy in the UK, which is a fine balance. So I actually think it's quite a good idea to do that, and I don't think Harry and Meghan seem particularly bothered about that. They'll have to rebrand somewhere along the line, but let's just carry on. As the Duke and Duchess of Sussex continue to develop their non-profit organisation and plan for their future, we hope that you use this site as a source for factual information. in the spring of 2020, their digital channels will be refreshed. So that is directly referring to the rebranding, as they introduce the next exciting phase to you. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex eagerly await the opportunity to share more with you and greatly appreciate your support. So before I go on to the very, very short royal family statement, I will see what people are saying. So I'm going to kind of zoom all the way back up again. We have 492 people watching, so please give a big old thumbs up if you are watching. Again, anybody in green is a channel member. So, hello to you guys. I think I did see some people joining. Welcome, Carolyn. Welcome, Sue. There may be more I've missed. So, yeah, please. My apologies if I haven't mentioned your name. Let's have a look. Leanne says, if they were removing the word royal, then why thumb their nose at the use of the word? They didn't do themselves any favours with the comments made. And Laura says, it sounds to me like the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are rebelling against the royal family. They've definitely got something to say. I mean, with the wording of it, they are definitely stressing, I think, that a lot of the things that are happening are not what they intended to happen. A lot of stuff has been imposed on them. And if you remember what I said at the time, I said that that what was on their website initially was almost like a statement of intent. I called it a statement of intent. This is what Harry and Meghan thought that they wanted. They thought the royal family would be kind of almost forced into going for it. But I said at the time, the royal family, the institution of monarchy, will go into self-preservation, and no individual is bigger than the institution of monarchy, and that would always be protected. So I said that at the time. This is a result of it, and I think the wording of Harry and Meghan's statement that we've had over the last few days shows that they feel that a lot of this has been imposed on them. They would have preferred it to have been a different way. They would have preferred it to have been exactly what was in their statement of intent. That was not possible. That couldn't square off. I said at the time, things have to square off. No one individual is bigger than the institution of monarchy, and that will always go into self-preservation mode, and that is what we have seen. Right. Let's go on a little bit. I want to move on to the statement that the royal family put out. Now, this is only a small one, and I couldn't find. Well, I think this is the only bit. If someone has a fuller version, let me know. But this was what the palace said at the same time. So they said, while the Duke and Duchess are focused on plans to establish a new non-profit organisation, given the specific UK government rules surrounding the use of the word royal, it has been therefore agreed that their non-profit organisation, when it is announced this spring, will not be named Sussex Royal Foundation. The Duke and Duchess do not intend to use Sussex Royal in any territory post-spring 2020. Therefore, the trademark applications that were filed as protective measures, acting on advice from following the same model for the Royal Foundation, have been removed. So, reading into what the royal family, the palace, is putting out there, it has said, surrounding the use of, given the specific UK government rules surrounding the use of the word royal. So the royal family is saying, hang on a minute, it's not us, we are just responding to the law. We are just responding to what the law requires here in the UK. And that makes it untenable. They are also stressing the point that the trademark applications have been removed in that name, and that the measures were put out there the same as the Royal Foundation for the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. So basically, I think they're kind of covering Harry and Meghan's back as well, reacting to the criticism that was put towards them during the time when that trademark story was revealed, because like I said, I interpreted that story as it's a protective measure, and the palace is backing them up on that. They are saying that was put out there, the same as William and Catherine, to be a protective measure. So there we have it. Sheila says just make an official statement which would be more dignified. Well, that was an official statement. The palace was one, and what was on Sussex Royal was an official statement too. Let's just go up again. Karen says, I think they were indicating that they were voluntarily not using the word royal in cooperation of the people of the UK, not wanting them to capitalise on their status. They cleared the air. Yes, I think that's almost exactly it. I think Harry and Meghan realised that there would be continued media scrutiny, which would obviously peg back to the British public as well. And I think they feel like a clean break is probably a good idea. And I have to agree, I think that probably is indeed for the best. Right, I am going to go now. This video, I only wanted to cover this story. I will be back tomorrow, and I will be covering a whole breadth of different royal stories that I have missed over the last couple of days. Because if you didn't know, I've been at a family wedding over the last 2 days. So I have actually been away. My previous video was called A Quick Update, and I actually updated, I just could have caught up with you from the hotel room. So I had an amazing time at the family wedding. If you wanted to see any kind of, photos of it, I put some up throughout yesterday on royal_reviewer on Instagram. So do go and check that out. Subscribe. It's basically just my own personal Instagram account. So if you want to follow that, please feel free. The patrons only chat this week, I had to cancel again because I was travelling on Thursday to go to this wedding. So I did plan to maybe do a quick patrons chat at some point, but I have a feeling I'm going to be incredibly busy over the next few days. So if you can forgive me for this week, I'd like to reconvene with the patrons only chat on Thursday as usual. So I should be perfectly fine for the patrons only chat to resume on Thursday. Also, thank you so much to all the new channel members. We now have over 70 on the channel. So thank you so much to you guys. You are the best. So if you have enjoyed this update, and I hope it's cleared things up, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, I will be updating Steps of Sussex very soon. So, from me, in Shropshire, mwah to you all, and goodbye.